Hello and welcome to this video. In today's video, I'm going to demonstrate to you ARP poisoning. ARP simply means address resolution protocol. So ARP is used in Ethernet networks where IP addresses are resolved into MAC addresses. Now, what I'm going to do is supposedly within this topology, these devices are configured to use internet. So I can show you from here. This is my Windows PC, and if I ping google.com, it works because I've configured NAT in my topology, and as you can see, the address has been resolved. And I can show you the gateway. So ARPA shows me that 1.1 is the gateway, which happens to be my router. So I can confirm from here. So show IP interface brief. That's my IP address, right? So traffic from PC, my Windows PC over here, goes through my switch to the router, hits the internet, and goes to google.com. Now, with the help of ARP poisoning, before traffic is sent from this Windows PC to the switch and to the router, the traffic will be forwarded to Kali before being sent to the router and before being sent to the internet. So I'm going to demonstrate to you how ARP poisoning can harm your network and then cause you a lot of damages, and the attacker can spy on every traffic leaving the network. So back on my Kali machine, this is my Kali machine over here. I'm going to start a 2-core EtherCap. And before I do that, let me show you the app cache. And remember, this is my app cache, is what 1.1.1, and this is the MAC address of the router. So with the help of ARP poisoning, the router is going to take the MAC address of the Kali machine, and it spoofs the MAC address of the router, and it imitates it for the device on the network to think that the Kali machine is the router. Okay, so back on Kali, I'm going to start the sniffing. So I'm going to start the sniffing, and as you can see, the sniffing has started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add targets. So I'm going to scan for hosts on my network, and 2 hosts has been added. So I'll go to ARP poisoning. First, I need to add my targets first. So host list. So this is my router. I'll add to target 1, and this is PC5 over here because I know my Ubuntu guest uses IP address of 1.4. So this is my Windows. I add to target 2, and now I can start the sniffing. So ARP poisoning. Okay, so now the attack is airborne. So I go back to my Windows PC and then type the app cache again, and now as you can see, it the Kali machine has mimicked the router, and now the router has the IP address of Kali. So now what is happening is whatever traffic that is sent from PC1, the Windows PC over here, to the internet, it first has to go through Kali before it goes through the router, before it goes through the NAT, before it hits to the internet. So let me demonstrate it for you to see. So on Kali, I'm going to start Wireshark. So Wireshark is loading, and let me go to, okay, so this interface. And as you can see, we can even search for app. And as you can see, 1.5 is at this MAC address. So the Windows PC, which has an IP address of 1.5, was looking for its gateway, and you see that's the gateway. So it's saying duplicate of 1.5 detected. Okay, so back on Kali, if you notice something over here, this is the MAC address of Kali, 4E84 and the Windows PC is talking to the router, the default router, which has an IP address of 1.1. But meanwhile, ARP resolves IP addresses into MAC address, and now resolving 1.1, which happens to be the IP for the router, it resolves to the MAC address of Kali. And in Ethernet networks, MAC addresses are used to send traffic between devices. So now what I'm going to do is my Windows PC, I'm going to ping google.com. So the domain name has been resolved to an IP address, and notice the IP address 172.217. So back on my Kali machine, I can filter for ICMP, and as you can see, let me start the capture, and as you can see, 1.5 was trying to talk to 172.217, which happens to be the IP address of Google. So this traffic wasn't supposed to be seen by this Kali machine, but because of ARP poisoning, we are seeing everything in clear text. So once again, what I'm going to do is back on my Windows PC. Okay, let me go to my router first. So back on my router, I can type debug IP. Okay, debug IP NAT translations. Okay, IP trans. I think it's show IP NAT translations, and as you can see, we have a detail of what went on over here. So 1.3, which is the Kali machine, at this random port is talking to 8.8.8, which is the IP address, the IP address of Google's, that's Google's DNS, sorry, on this 53 port, which is DNS. So back again, this is where it all started. So the machine, the Windows PC, pinged Google, and it resolved to this IP address, and as you can see, it's like port 80, which means HTTP or HTTPS, and instead of the traffic being forwarded from 1.1, which happens to be the router, now 1.3 is forwarding the traffic down, and as you can see over here, the translation is happening. So inside local and then outside local. So a lot has went on, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to browse in real time for you to see a real attack of ARP poisoning taking effect. So I'm going back to Kali, and I'm going to start the capture again. Continue, that's okay. So we have a new window. So back on Windows, I think we can visit google.com. So www.google.com. Okay. So accepted. And we should be redirected to Google. Okay, so now Google is loading. Let's wait for a while. Right. So youtube.com. Right, so as you can see, the network is a bit slow, but YouTube has loaded successfully. So what I'm going to do is I'm back on Kali. I'm going to filter for HTTP or HTTPS, any of them. So as you can see, we have a lot of HTTP traffic that's going through. So let me stop the capture and let's analyze what we have here. So we have a GET request. So 105 was talking to this IP address, and we can see analyze the packet over here, and as you can see, it was google.com. Okay, so let's search for another GET request, and this was a redirection. That's my gateway, my home router. Let's search for another GET. So it's another GET request. Okay, so another GET request over here, another guest. So I'm trying to find YouTube. So GET request. It seems YouTube couldn't load, or we couldn't get the request. But as you can see, we've analyzed the traffic and we can see the browser information. That is Mozilla and a lot, and the host was google.com. And you can imagine what this really means when somebody performs an ARP poisoning on your network, being able to analyze the traffic and everything. So this is very serious. Let me try YouTube for one more time. So let me go to the Windows PC. And let's go to bing.com. And before I go, I'll start a new captcha. So bing.com. So it's loading. My network is very slow, you have to pardon me, but as we discussed and as you've seen, that is the power of ARP poisoning. Every traffic which is flowing through our network from this Windows PC has to pass through Kali and has to go through router 1. And router 1, this Windows PC thinks Kali is the gateway, so it forwards traffic and Kali forwards traffic to router 1. Now we can perform more advanced hacking on this network where we can strip off SSL of HTTPS so that we can see passwords that is being entered by this Windows PC on the internet. Okay, so I think I have to leave it here, and in my next video I will show you how to secure yourself from ARP poisoning. So I think we have something here. I'm hoping. Nothing yet. TPS. So the network couldn't filter. That's very bad. So HTTP, and still nothing is coming up. The network is very slow. Bing has loaded, and once again, looking at the app cache, it still has the MAC address of Kali. to my CMP. So I think it's keeping more time, and I will have to leave the video here. In my next video, I'll show you how to protect yourself from these kind of attacks.